John West, can you hear me very well? Okay, John West, if you're speaking, you're on mute. If you could just wave your hand just in case you can hear me. I think that would do. Okay, awesome. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I see Elida Rona. Hi, Elida. Thank you for joining as well.
Hi, good evening.
Good
evening.
Come on. Fabulous. You?
Fine, thanks.
Awesome. I've been restless just waiting for 5 p.m. Saturday, 29th of June. So yeah, really looking forward to this. Okay, so just again, just confirming, because network can be a bit funny. My co-partners, my co-anchors, Ayo, just say hi again and just confirm everything is fine, rosy and dandy on your end. Ayo, can you just say hi? Ayo, can you just say hi?
Hi.
And maybe share your video as well permanently, so that let's be sure everything is fine on your end. Victoria, can you say hi as well? And then maybe just leave your video on. Yeah, just to make sure that all 3 co-pilots, everything is working pretty well, pretty seamlessly, so that we don't anticipate any glitches as we start. Oh, yeah, I see one of our speakers already. Hey, Comrade Martins. Hi, good evening to you. How are you? We have the honor and the privilege to welcome the SUG President of the prestigious University of Port Harcourt, Comrade Martins Aziri. Could you confirm you can hear me clearly? And just to be sure that we can see your face as well, if you don't mind, could you just activate your camera so we can everything is fine, because you are the VIP, the star of this whole show. So it'd be good just to be sure that everything is working at your end. Comrade Martins, can you confirm you can hear me very well?
Yeah, I can hear you outrightly. I can hear you perfectly.
Fantastic. I mean, your voice is as clear as a bell. Really relaxing, awesome stuff. I'm pretty excited. It's actually going to be scintillating. It's actually going to be fun. So I honestly look forward to this. I can't wait. So again, welcome to this call, and thank you for joining very early. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so Lucy, I see you are back. I think at a certain point you might have had network challenges. You dropped off. So it is good to have you back. Thank you once more for joining. At exactly 5 p.m., we'll kick this off and yeah, just set the entire board rolling. Thank you. So just checking, Ayo, I can't see your face anymore. Just checking. I mean, just like Comrade Martin, just like Victoria, it's good to just have your face permanently on, just to be sure network is working perfectly.
My network is working. I'm fine. I'm just doing some background check, so I have to.
I just saw it. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. If you don't mind, could we please reach out to Prof as well?
Yes, I'm on it.
Exactly. So that Prof can join at the end and we can test his own audio and video settings. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
Michael, Vicky, Ocha, thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Ooh, okay. I see a couple of folks have joined. I see, let me see. I see Victor White. Yeah, just acknowledging your presence. Thank you for joining. I see John Prince. Thank you for joining as well. Thank you. Thank you for joining really early. Yeah, thank you. Really very much appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, see our superstar, Kenna IB. Thank you for joining. Genevieve Mora just dropped off. Hopefully she will be back. She actually joined very early. Okay, so I see, yes, IB, hi, welcome. I see Ade Tokumbo. Thank you for joining, Tokumbo. Thank you for joining. Really grateful that you joined early. Thank you so much. Who else haven't I acknowledged? Okay. I think I have done everything. Yes, I have. Okay, Divine and Mary Bay, thank you for joining early. Thank you for joining 7 minutes earlier than our time. Thank you. Oh, okay, so Victoria, just checking. It seems you are like your video is getting a bit blurry. Okay, I think it's getting better now because we'd like to see the very pretty face from the very beginning to the end. Yes, my eyes are up on you fully because I talk about our guest speakers. You're one of the biggest elephants in the room. It would be good for us to not just hear you properly, but to see your very cute face properly as well. So just checking. John Prince, I acknowledge you. Thank you for joining. Yeah, thank you for joining, John Prince. If you don't mind, could you just mute yourself? If you don't mind, thank you. So I'm just checking. I think I saw a new participant who joined. Okay, Joladura, thank you so much for the episode. Thank you for joining, Ali. Thank you. By exactly 5 o'clock, we'll kick off. Yeah, we'll get the ball rolling. So thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, King Rojo Malaki, that should be Genesis. Thank you for joining. Princess, I see you. Thank you for joining. Ayo, just checking with you. I still haven't seen Prof on the line. Have we been able to reach out to Prof? Okay, that's fine. Princess, hi. Good evening. Can you just say hi, just to be sure you can hear me clearly?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Prince. Hi. Hi. I was actually calling Princess. Hey, Blossom. Hi. Living to you.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hi, good evening to you as well.
Hello?
Blossom, good evening to you. I can hear you, Princess. I can hear you. Okay, so in about a minute or two, we join. Hopefully, we'll get a critical mass. We have roughly about 19 participants. We're expecting roughly about 250 people or more. We have a Google Meet capacity of roughly 1,000 people. So we are hoping to be able to actually leverage that as much as possible. But yeah, we'll see. Lex, hi, good evening, welcome to the call, Lex.
Hi, good evening.
Lucy, hi, good evening to you. Lucy, welcome back. Inter to you. Thank you for joining. Thank you very much. Good evening. We have 22 participants, still a long way out. Still cannot see Prof. Still can't see Prof. Before the Prof will join us. Ladmeji, hi, good evening, welcome. 25 people, divine favor. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining, Kamal. Thank you for joining. So if you don't mind, I'd like to get to a magic number. So the magic number I want to choose today is 50. So once you get to a magic number of 50, we'll set this ball rolling. So yeah, hopefully in the next 2-3 minutes, we'll get to that magic number. And yeah, we'll get this underway. Thank you.
Hello. Good evening, sir. You know a Bottom White Hotel? Hello, sir.
Okay, so I think we have roughly about 43 people. I was actually hoping we get to 50. So if you don't mind, I'll crave your indulgence for us to just hit the magic number of 50, and then I'll set this ball rolling in. So if you don't mind, we just need 7 more participants. Okay, I think 8 participants now. Oof, 9 participants, sadly. Wow. Yeah, please just I just crave your indulgence. Once we hit the magic number of 50, we'll get this ball rolling. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so we are already really rising in terms of the numbers. Sandra John, thank you for joining. Sazi, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining as well. So we are already at 45, so we just need roughly about 5 more people. We hit our magic number of 50, and then we'll set this ball rolling. Thank you so much. And yeah, apologies, we're already about 3 minutes late. Thank you. About 3 more participants. Oof, okay, we've just dropped now to about 7 back. All right, I'm a very optimistic, bullish, confident, person. So I'm very, very hopeful the next minute or two we hit the magic number of 50 and then can get this moving. Hopefully. Honorable Martins, Azuri, I hope we're actually not going to bore you because I can see your hand already across your head. This is going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I bet you it's going to be fun. Young leaders are looking forward to hearing from you, looking forward to hearing from Professor. Oof, to beat the magic number of 50. So, Comrade, if you don't mind, I think it's time for me to take. Oof, we have dropped, but I think we can just start. I saw 50, so that was my cue. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you from wherever you're joining across the country. My name is Isaac Aldusman. I am the Executive President of the Antigravity Group. Really honored, delighted, privileged to welcome you to this call. It's actually going to be a very awesome one. So last week, we had the privilege of having Mrs. Azirindu Josephine Ashiwaju, who happened to walk us through a lot of aspects with respect to her 3 decades as a professional counselor at the University of Lagos and then former registrar as well, preparing students, very young people with respect to certain pitfalls you'd have to watch out for while seeking admission and perhaps starting their tertiary institution journey, whether in the university or in polytechnic or in the college of education. It was really a scintillatingly amazing event. We actually had it recorded, and we've actually shared it widely. But as part of this particular session, as well, we'll be sharing the link. This one is actually even going to be much more special because now we have two VIPs in our midst. So I will wait until we get to that particular segment where one of my co-anchors, Ayo, will walk us through the profiles of the VIPs that we have in the room. My job is actually very simple. My job is to welcome all of you, into the call, to make you feel comfortable, to make you feel relaxed, and then to give you a sense of what is coming. The harder job will be, handled by my co-anchors, my co-pilots. So with me, just to say hi quickly, first I have my co-partner at the Antigravity group. Ayo is our manager for impact, for stakeholder experience, social media, and then content development as well. So Ayo, do you want to say hi quickly before I go to Victoria? Ayo, can we see a very beautiful face? Ayo, quickly.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Isaac. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our event today. I'm delighted to be your host alongside Isaac and Victoria. Yes. So we are thrilled to have you join us. I hope you came prepared. I said that the last time, and I'm saying it again. I hope you all came prepared because today is fully packed for each and every one of you. Thank you very much for joining. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ayo. Thank you so much. Okay, so next up, I have a third co-pilot and co-anchor. Victoria, you want to say hi quickly?
Yes, sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in today's session. Today's session is going to be very impactful because I promise you by the time we're done, you'll be armed with all the necessary information that you need to get started while getting yourself ready to move into tertiary institutions and every other information that will be necessary to you. Thank you so much.
Fabulous. Ayo, Victoria, thank you so much. Okay, so Ayo, if you don't mind, the next slide, please. Next slide. Ayo, I can't see the slide. Sorry, I can't see the slides anymore. If you don't mind, could you share? I would like to just walk us through the agenda in terms of what we have in store for all of you. So Ayo, if you don't mind, the slides are out of the screen. Okay, slides are back, thankfully. So Ayo, next slide, please. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is actually going to be a very easy, simple one. The grounding principles in terms of the things that we need to watch out for in terms of etiquette and all of that. So Ayo will come to run through those, and then afterwards, again, Ayo will just continue to introduce the VIPs, the elephants that we have in the room, in terms of our two guest speakers, and then Victoria will come afterwards to anchor the session with respect to the theme of this event itself. So we have a couple of very awesome, fantastic questions we've already developed to ensure that we cover every aspect of the field, every aspect of the perimeter fencing to fully equip you with all the requisite things you need to know while making this transition from high school, through the tertiary institution. I'll come back to talk about academically briefly, and then some of the fundamental, reasons or perhaps rationale behind why academically is actually going to be your companion all through the tertiary institution life. I will come back to take questions and answers. So just to actually mention quickly, we're actually going to have two options. Option number one is our chat box. So as the conversations are going on all through, particularly with the panel, with the panel session, you can drop questions. Ayo will come back to pick all of those. But then when we get to the Q&A proper as well, Ayo will open it up, for you to unmute yourselves and then perhaps ask some of the burning questions that may be on your minds based on what you must have heard all through. Then I'll come back to say thank you and then close. Okay, at this point, like I said earlier on, my job is a very, very easy one. The other heavy lifting will be done by my co-anchors. So Ayo, please take it away. Thank you, and have fun.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Isaac, for that. So before we dive into the events proper, let's go over some of our safety and ground principles. First off, we have not safe to join while driving. Make sure you are joining from a safe place and an ergonomically relaxing space. Our ground principle states, be ready to learn and collaborate. Kindly ensure your mic is muted, except when speaking. Use the raise your hand button. It's on your screen. It's just like my colleague has said, my co-anchor has said, if we have two options for the question and answer section, we have the chat box, and then if you want to speak, thank you, make use of the chat box as well. So that's all for our safety and ground principles. Moving on, we'd like to introduce our guest speakers. First off, we have Professor Chima Wokocha. He's currently the Dean of Student Affairs of the University of Port Harcourt. His background and expertise: Professor of Soil Science, University of Port Harcourt, specialty, soil survey and land use planning. Research interests: soil survey, land use management, GIS, remote sensing and environmental remediation. Wow, that's a lot. Published numerous papers with a strong citation record. That's great. Leadership roles: pioneering member of the Faculty of Agriculture, Department of Crop and Soil Science. Yes, I remember doing my IT in that department. Okay, first professor of soil science in the department. Wow. Former director of the Students Industrial Work Experience Unit, CWES, University of Port Harcourt. Currently the Dean of Student Affairs, University of Port Harcourt. I thought I should be seeing the hands, like you guys should be clapping. Thank you. Please keep it going. Personal life: married with 4 amazing children. Wow. So let's move on to the next speaker, Comrade Okpara Azirindu Martins, the able SUG President of the University of Port Harcourt. Background and expertise: Diploma in Theology 2015 to 2016, BA Bachelor of Arts in Linguistics and Communication Studies 2013 to 2017 at the University of Port Harcourt, NYSC 2018 to 2019, Ondo State, Masters in Communication Arts 2019 to 2020, BA in Philosophy in VIEW, University of Port Harcourt 2019 till present, politics, business and livestock farming. Wow. Leadership roles: he's the SUG President of the University of Port Harcourt, founder, Puritans Foundation, CEO, Opamat Properties. Wow, the SUG President really has money. I can see that. Opamat Nigeria Limited and Opamat Farms Limited. Personal life: married with 2 children. Wow. Okay, that's awesome. So we'll move on to our next slide, which is the panel discussion. And at this point, I would hand over to my co-anchor, Victoria. Victoria, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ayo.
Sorry. Ayo, Victoria, just checking now. Do we have Prof online? Because I was just scrolling through. I don't think I've actually seen him. Do we have him here already?
I don't see him on the call yet.
Not yet.
Okay, so I think maybe what we can do quickly, I can just do the overview for Akadabu while we actually try to reach him, and then we can circle back to the segment.
All right.
Yeah, it will not be complete if we don't have Prof yet. Yeah. Okay. Right?
Yes, Isaac.
Okay, so if you mind, could you just quickly scroll down the slides for Akadabu. So let me just walk us through. Could you just go to the Prof slide? So thank you very much. Akadabu, it's actually from 2 words, academics and then bu. At the very outset, when we're trying to develop this, I was in a sort of dilemma with respect to whether we should use Akadabe or we should use Akadabu. And you'll be wondering, so why exactly did we go out there to develop a platform and then we named it Akadabu for students? So I like to use my own story as a starting point, and I'm really sorry for any of you who may have heard this story at a certain point. I don't want to bore you, but I often say stuff like, yes, I was never meant to be born, I was never meant to be here, yet I am. I had a very rough childhood. I did not do GSS1, GSS2, GSS3. I was on the streets of Lagos for 3 years selling ice cream. Got into high school for the very first time in SS1. Finished, after 2.5 years, in high school. I still managed to top my entire school in terms of NECO and WIAC. I didn't have any sort of right to dream or think about going to the university, but I did. And after 14 years working in Shell, I told myself, yes, I had to be out there to more or less, touch someone's life out there, to do something in a way to give back and then to connect to some of the roots in terms of my journey up to this point. So we set out to actually develop a platform for students to, like as you can see here, to actually connect, for students to learn, to network, to collaborate, and hopefully to also co-create value in whatever impact, in whatever shape, in whatever form, all through. Many of the things that you see on this particular slide are the specific things that drive us with respect to what Akadabu is all about. And even this event itself that we're having right now is one of the things that we have opted to do as a way to co-create in a universe of impact, where we can create a platform where students who are about to enter into tertiary institutions will understand some of the pitfalls, some of the risks, some of the areas where they have to pay attention to, so that when they get into a tertiary institution, they can get it right from the very first year to the last year. you don't mind, the very last slide, so the very next slide, because of time, so I'll just quickly run through this. So we have this on the web, we have this on Android, we have this on iOS as well. And essentially there are a couple of functionalities that we have. I'll just run through them quickly because of time. We have a GPA calculator that helps you understand what it means, to be in a tertiary institution. I often use this example of, when you are in high school from SS1 to maybe SS3 second term, you could be the 40th person in your class, but then it wouldn't stop you from still being best in WAEC or being best in NECO. When you get to the university, it's a different, challenge. When you get to the Polytechnic, it's a different story because every semester counts from the very beginning to the very end. So we wanted to have a GPA calculator to help you understand how this works, versus what you must have been used to. And a very good way to actually understand it is to be on that platform and then to use it. And if I go to the very next one, we have a forum as well, where even where you have challenges or issues with respect to the calculator itself, you have a lot of people you can network with to actually help you understand how to use it, to understand, all sorts of aspects with respect to tertiary institution life. We have something called Buddies, similar to friends on Facebook, where you can connect with, all sorts of students across different schools in Nigeria, again, to collaborate, to network, to co-create value, and then to learn. We have school summaries. So for a lot of you here, you have already filled your respective JAM forms in terms of the schools you want to, attend. But just imagine at the point where you are filling all of those forms, where you have dilemmas with respect to whether to choose a Uniport or to choose a UNILAG or OAU. We have a summary on the platform as well with respect to every institution in Nigeria to assist students to be able to understand what each school offers. We have links to free, courses, free courses to help you with respect to development in areas where you need to skill up, as you move on your academic journey. We also have links to scholarships as well. Those scholarships could be specific ones with respect to bursaries, with respect to scholarships in Nigerian schools, and then scholarships in schools all over the world as well. We have a CBT platform. Again, for many of you here who have already written JAM, it may not be something that strikes a chord of resonance, or think about it. Once it's time for you to write the CBT in various schools, the CBT platform will actually play a key role. And a couple of things I like to say about our CBT platform. So one, it is free. Two, unlike other CBT platforms elsewhere, where they just give you the respective answers, you don't have a very, very strong sense of why certain answers are correct and certain answers are incorrect. We've spent a lot of time to actually give you detailed explanations with respect to why A is the answer and then why B, C, D, are not the answers, right? We have something called RAISE. So RAISE is for needy, indigent students. When I was in school, I struggled all through, and I feel very, 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 very strongly today that we have that opportunity to be able to go out there, to be able to match donors in terms of people who are doing better financially right now, who can actually stretch their hands to support students who might need help with being able to pass through maybe a higher institution, perhaps because they don't have any sort of means to be able to pay school fees, they don't have means to pay for accommodation, for books, and all of those things, right? We have a marketplace, unlike a Jumia, unlike a Conga. We have a marketplace that is essentially dedicated, to meet the needs of students. I give you a good example. You're about to enter, say, the University of Port Harcourt, and you are thinking of, sharing a bed space. Our platform gives you that opportunity to be able to meet people who already have bed spaces and are willing to share with you for a fee. It could be a hostel, it could be outside accommodation, and then it could be other things like textbooks, it could be notes, and much more. So essentially, Akadabu is for you, and this entire event that we are organizing right now is coming to you courtesy of the Antigravity group, courtesy of Akadabu itself. If you have not registered yet, we're going to play a video right now to just give you a sense of all of the steps you have to take so that you can actually register, you can be part of that community, and then hopefully it can serve as a veritable platform for you to learn all you need for you to be able to seamlessly go through what you need to go through while in a tertiary institution. So I'll leave it here, because of time. Ayo, if we have that video, let us play it quickly, and then hopefully we should have Prof with us, and then we can continue the panel session. So Ayo, over to you for the video. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello everyone, this is a tutorial video on how to register on Acadabo. You go to your Play Store and type in Acadabo. Once it opens, click install. When the app installs successfully, you click open. Once the app opens, you can sign up as a student, mentor, or a donor. On this page, click create account and kindly choose the option that best describes you. Let's register as an undergraduate. On this page, you fill in the necessary details, your first name, last name, and your email address, and then click next. Once you click next, it takes you to the next page where you have to create a password. Create a password, confirm your password, and click next. It takes you to the next page where you have to confirm your email address. Once you've confirmed your email address, you fill in your details and log in. Once you log in, you are good to go. To register using the web, go to your browser and type in www.acadabo.com. When it opens, scroll through and click on the sign up button. On the next page, scroll down and select your account type. Let's register as a Jambite. Fill in the necessary details, your first name, last name, and every other details. Confirm your password, confirm you are not a robot, and create account. After successfully creating an account, you can now fully enjoy all the Acadabo features. Thank you very much, Isaac, for the overview. So, Esther, Victoria, you can have the floor now.
No, but still hold on. Do we have
Okay.
Prof on the call? as we speak?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, Isaac.
Okay, so maybe what we'll do, Victoria, if you don't mind, we'll actually start with Comrade Martins. Let me see if I can reach Prof, and then once we have him in, we can just accommodate him in terms of the other questions. So let's start. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us in this session. So I'm going to be having a conversation with the comrade we have with us, Comrade Azirindu Martin. And he's going to be talking about several topics that's actually going to help you, with the knowledge you need regarding getting into any tertiary institution or with specifics to Uniport. All right, so just to confirm that I have Comrade here with me. Hello, Comrade, for joining us. Please unmute.
Can you hear me?
Okay,
Hello.
is Comrade still with
Hello.
us?
Can you hear me? Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Yes,
Good
I
evening,
can.
everybody. Good evening, everybody. I'm here.
Yes. Okay. All right, so Comrade, I'm going to be asking you a couple of questions. So I would like for you to share with us your in-depth knowledge, and so we can learn from you. So I'll start by asking if you could clearly paint how tertiary institution life is different from high school. What specific tips do you have for students to help them make that transition very seamlessly?
Okay. For the high school, we're going to look at the learning approach or the learning pattern. For high school, I think what is being practiced there is teaching. So you have teachers, people who go detailed to giving you information about the particular subject matter or the topic of discourse. So if they are talking about, for instance, reproduction in biology, okay, the teacher goes as far as giving you detailed information, giving you notes. Most times, he can even use his marker to write on the board for you to take notes and what have you. But when you come to the higher institution, that is not what is applicable. In higher institution, what we practice is lecturing. And lecturing is different from teaching. Lecturing is not detailed. The lecturer is like one who sets a pace for you. He guides you. He tells you, hello, you can hear me, right? Okay. Now the lecturer
Yes, we
tells
can hear
you
you. We can hear you.
this is the path to follow, and he watches you do those things yourself. With the little information he provides you with, the lecturer expects you to go and do research. If he provides you with that topic, reproduction, and just say a little thing about reproduction, the lecturer now expects you to go and visit other materials, other reference materials, look at articles, what people have written on that subject matter of reproduction. So you see that in the higher institution or university, the learning pattern is quite different from what we have in higher school or what we call secondary school. You can hear me, Victoria, right? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can
So
hear you.
that's that on the learning pattern that distinguishes the let's say now the secondary
Okay.
or the high school from the tertiary institution.
Okay. All right. So please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much for your
Yes,
response
I
there.
can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. All right. So my next question to you is going to be, what are those, as an alumni of Uniport, okay, what are those key unique factors that make Uniport so special as a top destination of choice for most students? So why should a student consider Uniport as a school of choice and not maybe Unilag or Obafemi Awolowo University? What makes Uniport really special?
Okay. It's simple. If we go on the ground of academics, academic performance, you can give a thumbs up to the University of Port Harcourt. Her lecturers are professionals. Her lecturers meet international standards. There are lecturers in the University of Port Harcourt that even get appointments to manage centers across the globe. So when we talk about the quality of lecturers in the University of Port Harcourt, you have nothing to worry about. There are professionals in different disciplines, ranging from humanities to sciences to basic medical sciences to agriculture and what have you. University of Port Harcourt is a sure bet when it comes to quality of lecturers. In fact, most of the private-owned universities and state-owned universities reach out to lecturers in the University of Port Harcourt to come and become adjunct lecturers. You can even have there is this recent one, the Wigwe University. The Wigwe University that was recently built and is to kick off this September. The Vice Chancellor of Wigwe University actually visited the Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt for mentorship. Now, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt is asked to mentor the University of Wigwe or the Wigwe University. So it shows you that when it comes to experience and the quality of lecturers in the University of Port Harcourt, you can count on them. You can bank on them for delivery, for academic excellence. That is one. Two, Uniport prioritizes entrepreneurship and entertainment. Entrepreneurship, Uniport has a functional entrepreneur center, and that is why, and that is a very important one and a selling point for the University of Port Harcourt, because most times we see students graduate, and when they leave the higher institution or the tertiary institution, the Nigerian factor springs forth and faces them and then tells them, here I am, the Nigerian factor of unemployment. So if you attend such schools like the University of Port Harcourt, who does not only place that on a theoretical ground where you just come and read things about entrepreneurship, but has created a venue for practicals, you now see that you can fall back to those things that you were able to get from the entrepreneur center. You can fall back to them. It could be fashion design, it could be baking and what have you. So because Uniport has prioritized our entrepreneur center, students who graduate from the University of Port Harcourt can now fall back to those things they got that is outside paperwork at the end of the day. So when you're coming to the University of Port Harcourt and you have this consciousness that you're coming to the University of Port Harcourt, not just to get the theoretical, but some practical things, some practical activities that can fetch you money upon graduation, and that you for people who want to come to the University of Port Harcourt. Again, another
All right.
selling point for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Another selling point for the University of Port Harcourt, is I'm not trying to sell the university. Of course, in course of discussion, if questions arise and I have to point out some deficiencies I see in the university, because we are interacting and we want to learn, I don't think anyone should come here and start politicking or want to project his or her institution in good light without pointing out those things. Okay, so one of the selling points again for the University of Port Harcourt is that the University of Port Harcourt is actually secured. University of Port Harcourt is actually secured. If you go across universities in the country, you hear such things as cultism, court clash, killing, rape, and what have you, but you hear little or none of these particular occurrences in the University of Port Harcourt because of the structures that has been put on ground to monitor some of these things. So Uniport is a very secured environment. It's a very secured environment. And for entertainment that I mentioned in passing, you can mention them. So many persons who are making headway in the Nollywood and the entertainment industry are actually graduates of the University of Port Harcourt, because the environment itself, because of its speedy development and its proximity to the capital city, Port Harcourt, it now gives people the opportunity to go into entertainment. And I think after Port Harcourt, after Lagos, Asaba, possibly Abuja, I think Port Harcourt should be counting. Port Harcourt should be between third when it comes to entertainment. So for those persons who want to go to such careers as entertainment, skit making, we have the best of during my first degree program, I graduated with Sabinus. So while we were still on that particular program, Sabinus was after school, he goes for skits. So we have the long tennis court where people go in for that special skill development. They go there on a daily basis, and security is actually being provided. So these and a whole lot that time will not permit me to mention are selling points and reason why I will advise any person to come to the University of Port Harcourt. And this is the reason why I have graduated from the University of Port Harcourt in first degree. I'm also graduating again, and I've also applied to start a third degree in law. So I give a thumbs up to the University of Port Harcourt on these grounds.
Wow, interesting. All right, so right, so everyone, can you use the emoji, okay, that you have right in your screen? Anyone that you think will be best, okay, to salute the University of Port Harcourt at everything the comrade has been able to say. So key things I pointed out from what he said, okay, the selling point is the entrepreneurship aspect, security, okay, an enabling environment for learning, and also entertainment. So this is like an all-round learning. Whenever you think of Uniport, okay, think of the fact that you can actually get everything out of it. All right, thank you so much, comrade. So comrade, you know that there are certain myths that come with, oh, I want to go to the school, what do people say about it? And people who have gone there, what do they know about the school? So I would like you to share with us, what were some of the biggest myths you heard before you gained admission into Uniport, that even when you got into Uniport, those things you heard were untrue? Maybe you can share 2 or 3 and let's learn from it.
Okay, too many things were said about the university. Too many things were said about the University of Port Harcourt before I gained admission into the University of Port Harcourt. Some are true, and some of them are not. So, because we're talking about myth are statements or beliefs that is being put out in the public, but in the real sense of what it is, they are actually not true. Okay, so they are make-believe stories. Okay, so one of such indication that for you to, you can hear me, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, a call came in, so I had to drop the call. Sorry about that. Okay, so one of these myths that was propagated on campus before I gained admission into the campus is that Uniport is a loose school. By loose, that is to say that the level of morals or morality in Uniport is not what to write home about. That is to say, people are being asked, people are not being watched after, and students do whatsoever they do when it comes to morality. That's one of the myths I got about the university. But when I came in, I got to discover that Uniport is actually a disciplined school. Uniport is very strict with dressing. The ethics committee of the University of Port Harcourt does not tolerate indecent dressing. I could remember if we all could recount a situation sometime last year where the vice chancellor was on patrol checking activities in the classroom, and he met a young lady that was indecently dressed, and he picked the lady's mat number and gave her a discipline. It was even about expelling the young lady, but because of the reactions, since he's a democratic person, because of the reactions, he just had to lift or change his mind on suspending that particular young lady or expelling her from the school. So it shows you how far a uniport can go in dealing with indecent dressing or morality, or in dealing with morality. That is one myth or picture that is created out there that I came to the University of Port Harcourt and I did not meet. Another myth was that for you to become an SUG official in the University of Port Harcourt, for you to join the Student Union politics, that you definitely be a cultist. I make bold to say that I'm the Student Union government president. The office of the president is the highest office at the student union level. And as the president, I make bold to say, and I challenge anybody, that I'm not a cultist. I know my vice president, that she's not a cultist. She's a committed church person. I know her for that. She's a committed Christian. She's not a cultist. And I can't remember any of my officials being a cultist. Like I told you, there are areas I will actually point out the flaws of the university when we get to that point. I won't hide it away because we are talking about growing leaders. So if we begin to deceive ourselves because we want to protect something or create a good image, it won't be a good one. So these are the two points I can actually recall now that were myths painted or created in the outside world before I came to the University of Port Harcourt.
All right, thank you so much, comrade, and also thank you for willing to be honest with us with your responses.
Yeah.
And so, whatever myth, if you're on this call and you have the myth that once you get into Uniport you can dress indecently, okay, so just take that out. Know that there's discipline in Uniport. All right, so let's move on to the next question, comrade. How can you describe the life of a typical student in Uniport? What is it like? We'd like to have a picture.
Okay. The life of a typical student of the University of Port Harcourt is, I'll say, a competitor. And I think that's coming from the anthem of the university. The anthem of the university projects her as a world-class institution, or an institution that is pushing to meet a world-class standard. So you hear that line of the anthem that says, our progenesis, citizens of the universe. That is to say that our products are people who qualify for universal intakes. That's to say, any part of the world, be it Europe, be it America, be it Asia, that the products of Uniport can fit in and compete with these people. So serious students, like I said, I'm going to be honest, serious students of the University of Port Harcourt who actually come to school, they are in for competition. They want to meet that international standard. They want to compete with other schools. Even in sports, they want to come first. When we compete or when we go into contest with sister schools like the River State University, Ignace Shajuru and all that, we want to come first. We want to maintain that name, the first people academically and otherwise. So this is a typical picture of whom a Uniport student is. Again, the Uniport student is an enjoyment student. I told you about entertainment. The Uniport person wants to show off. He wants to show off. He wants people to see him or her as one. People just know how to carry themselves. Uniport students, they just know how to carry themselves. Even if everything is not going too well, but you just see them come out like that, just projecting themselves in that light of acceptance. Okay, these are two major things I can actually say about the expectation of an Uniport, of a student of Uniport or a Uniport student.
Okay, Victoria, sorry, apologies.
Yes.
Comrade, thank you very much. I had tried to actually reach a Prof. I tried to call him several times. So I want to assume, I believe maybe perhaps there is really something big out there that's keeping Prof from joining our call. So to all our participants, I'm really truly sorry on behalf of the entire team that we don't have Prof in our midst. So Vicky, if you don't mind, so for the benefit of all other students who are actually aspiring to apply to other schools beyond Uniport, right? So maybe we can take some of those generic questions away from Uniport, and maybe I can also join as well, so that they can learn, with respect to the actual theme around just transitioning from high school to a tertiary institution. So if you don't mind, maybe we can just move from some of the Uniport specific questions to some of the generic ones, so that students can learn irrespective of what school they'll be aspiring to gain admission in. Yeah. So Vicky, Comr, thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that clarification, Isaac. Okay. So back to you, comrade. let's talk about some of the dangerous pitfalls, okay, that is mostly associated with tertiary institutions, such as cultism, drug abuse, campus prostitution, also known as hookups, okay, and every other vices out there that students need to be most mindful of. Can you share some hands-on examples or stories where students actually got it very wrong? And what can students do to stay off all of these pitfalls?
Okay. It is important to note that every pitfall we encounter in the university is a problem of morals. Every pitfall we encounter in the university is a problem of morals. Okay? And so morality is very important. Is someone saying something?
I'm sorry, comrade. So everyone, please
Hello.
let's stick to the house rules. Keep your microphones muted so we don't have any form of distractions. And yes, if you have questions, leave them in the chat. Okay, we're going to take them afterwards. Sorry about that, comrade. Please, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I was saying that virtually every case we encounter as pitfalls in the university are issues of morals. There are issues of morals. I think that was it earlier this year or the later end of last year? We know of, we heard, and it was all over social media, of a student of the University of Port Harcourt. They were both students. They were both students of the University of Port Harcourt, classmates that were actually dating, and they left the campus to the young man's apartment somewhere in Mboba. Mboba is a bit far from the university. Mboba is not a host community of the university. They went there, and the guy is actually into this internet fraud that they call Yahoo Yahoo, and now he has upgraded. He is into going the other way, which is Yahoo Plus, and he actually killed the young lady. Okay, called an Aboki man, and was about disposing her body after getting some sensitive parts out of the young lady before he was intercepted by police officers. Okay, so if we look at the moral virtue of contentment, comportment, students knowing why they are in school, that it is to be certified in character and learning, you will not engage in, dating, or dating to the extent where you go to a man's house and sleep over and what have you. Someone you may have not understood for a very long time, or someone you know that his character is questionable. So in association, that young man you're getting close to, the young lady you are getting close to, what are his sources, or what is the person's source of income? Who are the person's friends? What is the person's commitment? These are things you should consider before going close to such persons. Okay. Another incident too was the incident of drug. That was just a few months back. A young man who was actually addicted, or is actually addicted to drugs, went to play football, and after the match, he took this codeine and tramadol with other drugs, mixed them together, took them, he slumped and died. And he just rounded off with his final papers. That was supposed to be the end of his exams, but he did that, and that was how he died. Okay, so drug abuse, prostitution in the name of hookups are some of these pitfalls that we see in our universities today, and people who initially were not into it got involved through association with wrong friends who are actually bad, who were into it. So they got it through association. They got involved in it through association. That's how they got involved. So my
Okay,
advice will
so
still remain.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so my
How
advice will
can
still remain.
students stay off this? Yes.
Pardon? I didn't hear you. You said how can students? You said how can students do
Sorry to
what?
cut in. Go ahead to yes, go ahead. Ask that question.
Yes. It's first defining who you associate with because of time. Because of time, that's a very important point, that students define whom they associate with. When you gain admission into school, do not be in a hurry to delve into making friends. Take time to select your friends. As days, weeks, and months go by, you begin to understand everyone and the pattern of life they live. So from their lifestyles, you can actually determine this is who I want to follow, this is whom I want to make my friend.
All right, thank you so much for that. Okay, so we're just going to pause for now and take a bit of questions because I see a lot of hands, not a lot, a couple of hands up, and I'm sure they have specific questions here. So I'm going to start. Okay, so at this point, if you have any question or some hands are raised, if your hand is raised and you do not have a question, do well to lower your hands now so I can take questions from those who actually have questions. Okay, so I'll just start with the first here. I see Wilekwe Victoria. I think that's my namesake. Hi, Victoria. You can do well to unmute your microphone and then go ahead to ask your question if you do.
Oh, sorry. I think I raised that hand in mistake. I'm just going to lower it right
So
now.
yes.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, like I said, if you don't have a question, just do well to lower your hands so I can take questions from the hands I see here. All right, so next is Sulaiman. Sulaiman, I hope I got that correctly. Please unmute and then ask your question. Oh, I see he's a host. Let's go over to Isaac. Isaac Ezeka. Isaac, please unmute your microphone and speak if you have any question. Okay, Chijioke. Chijioke, do you have questions? Go ahead to ask it now. Unmute your microphone and ask. Oh, let's John Prince. Okay, no. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Oh, hi.
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
I think I heard from Sulaiman first. Let's go with Sulaiman. Yeah, please go ahead and mute yourself and speak.
Can I gain admission to other school apart from Port Harcourt?
So your question is if you can gain admission into any other school apart from Uniport, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, sure, you can. It depends on your school of choice. So do you have any school in mind?
Yes. Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto.
Yeah, sure. You can get admission in any school, okay, irrespective of where you live. So you could live in Port Harcourt and you have interest to school anywhere outside of Port Harcourt. Yes, you can.
Right.
So basically, you just need to approach the school and then find out the requirements for whatsoever course you're looking at studying.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. All right, so hi, John Prince. You can unmute now and speak.
Good evening, ma.
Yes, good evening.
Please, can I get admission with 160 into Unicom?
Okay, so I'm not sure what the requirement is right now. Let me see if anyone from the team can answer this question. Are you Isaac?
Okay, so in terms of specificity with respect to the particular school right now, we may not have all of the requisite answers for you. So maybe what we'll do is we can actually take that offline and then perhaps circle back to you. So we wanted to make this as generic as possible so that everybody can just dial in and learn, irrespective of what school they're actually trying to gain admission into. So maybe at a certain point in the future, in the next couple of weeks or months, yeah, maybe we might potentially have the opportunity to have perhaps officials from the University of Calabar to do this with us. But for now, we don't have any specific information that we can actually provide. Well, what I'll say is, Victoria, we'll take that offline and then, yeah, for the gentleman who actually asked the question, we can settle back offline. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so we've taken note of his name, John Prince, and for any other person who have interest in going to the University of Calabar, that information will also be beneficial to you. Do we have any other yeah, so I still see some hands. Suleiman, you can lower your hands now since you've asked a question. Hello, Isaac Ezeka. Right, Isaac Ezeka. Please unmute and ask your question. And yes, we still have Comrade here, so if you have questions directed at him, please feel free and then go ahead to ask him. Otherwise, okay, do we have someone who's trying to speak?
Okay, so Victoria, ladies and gentlemen, so just to apologize to all of you again. for not having Professor Chima Wokocha with us. Like I've said, we don't understand why he's in here, but we're still very much privileged. We are excited and we are honored to have, Martins Azirindu with us, who is the SUG President at the University of Port Harcourt. Again, apologies, but we need to just make the very best of what we have. Yeah, so we don't know what Prof is going through at this point. So if you don't mind, if there are specific questions you'd like to direct, to the SUG President, these questions will be generic. They don't have to be related to the report. If you have questions with respect to maybe academics generally, how to make this transition, how to make a first class. So let me just say here, very, very proudly, in my own time, I graduated with the first class. I understand the rigor and all of the things you would need to be able to go into school and be the very best you can be. So if you have generic questions, not specifically with respect to the University of Port Harcourt, the Comr and I, even Victoria and other members of our team are willing to chip in to support you, because it's not rocket science. Anything that you just have on your mind, please feel free to voice those over, and yeah, we're willing to actually support you. If there are specific questions, just like the very last one with respect to Unicard, we can note those, take them offline. But if you have generic questions with respect to how life is in school, there are certain things that are bothering you, certain aspects that are still a bit opaque or not very clear, you need clarity on, we are happy to step in to provide you all of that clarity. Yeah. So Vicky, again, over to you, and thank you for making the best out of all of this.
All right. Yeah, great. So so let me share a personal experience. I know that when I wanted to go into the university, so I had issues with determining what I wanted to do. Do we have such people on the call today? Do we have such people who are yet to know what course they want to study? If you are here on the call, maybe in the chat you could just say me. Don't be shy. Okay, it's pretty much normal. I mean, just leaving the high school and then you're trying to determine what should I go study, and also I already see. Okay, that's not a question. So I know that I started going through the brochure and I was seeing some courses with really interesting names. And I'm like, oh, I loved how biochemistry sounded. Okay, and the fact that when I want to introduce myself, I can say, hi, everyone, my name is Victoria. I am a biochemist. But then when I went through everything that it will entail to study that, I just said, oh, no, that's not for me. So do we have people here on the call who are still trying to find out what exactly, okay, they really want to go study? So yeah, like I said, oh, so Justina's hand is up. So I also got to discover that at that point, I think young people need counseling. Okay, young people need counseling with knowing what course of study they want to go into. In fact, the course I studied was computer science. And you don't want to hear how I got to study computer science. It was a suggestion from my cousin. He just suggested that I should study computer science. And yes, I was good with my hands. I was good with using the computer, and that was what I expected. But guess what? By the time I got into the university and I was introduced and hit with mathematics of different levels, statistics, and a whole lot more, it was then I realized that, hey, Vicky, this is a case of what you bought, okay, versus what you were expecting, and that didn't turn out right. But I just had to let myself know that, you are here. You have to make the best out of it. Okay, and you really need to ensure that you come out with good grades, and that was what I was able to do. So such instances might happen to you. And of course, I also hear people say, oh, I'm studying economics or I'm studying any other course, and then they go ahead to see that's what the university gave me. Okay, that's not necessarily the case. So it's important that you also have full knowledge of what you are taking up and what you're going to study at the university. Okay, so back to you once again. Do we have persons like that on this call? And it would also be great if you do well to share with us your course of study in the chat as well.
Okay, so Victoria, so in line with just recognizing and making the very best of what we have in this circumstance, I have a couple of people on this call who are graduates. They're coming in as mentors, very experienced people. I see Kelvin, I have Obi, I have IBE, I see Nengi. Thank you for joining. Do we have, so if I just go around, if there's one big tip you want to share with some very young folks we have on this call who are about to embark on that journey that many of us have embarked on, what would that be? If you have just one, like if there was something you still wish till this day that you had learned or you had known before your first day in tertiary institution, right? What would that thing be? So Kelvin, can you actually Kelvin, thank you. Thank you for joining with members of your team. Kelvin, can you actually hear me? Can you confirm it? You can hear me clearly? Kelvin? Okay. Obe, can you hear me very well? Obe, can you just say hi? Obe, if you can hear me? Obe, can you hear me very well? Do I have you me on this call as well? Nengi, can you say hello if you can hear me very well?
Yes, I can. Good evening.
Good evening, Nengi. Hi, and thank you for actually joining. Okay, so Nengi, so if there's one thing, one very, very big, gigantic thing that you wish you had known at the very outset before your very first day in tertiary institution, what would that be? So that our young folks here can learn, from your experience as well. Yeah, Nengi.
Hi everyone, good evening. Sorry, where I am is a bit noisy, but I'll just go straight to answering the question. I think for me, one of the things that I reflect on now is taking up specialty courses. Like you don't have to take the well-known professional courses. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to study law because your parents are lawyers. You don't have to study medicine because your parents are doctors. You can just go for specialty courses. You can study textile, material science course. You can study football. You can study sports science, just something different. It mustn't be a professional course. You can go in the area of your interests. So yeah, that's just my bit. Thank you.
Really awesome, really fantastic. And if I just nuance it a bit, so I'm a very active, member of the LinkedIn community. So for very young folks who may not know LinkedIn, so LinkedIn it's a social media platform for professionals working, for professionals actually, getting things done, from people who are pursuing careers to those who are seasoned in terms of work experience to those who are pursuing entrepreneurship and much more. There's one thing I see very often is the fact that is one where people actually end up pursuing careers diametrically totally different from what they must have studied in school, right? And this is in tandem with what Nengi has actually said, that hey, in most instances you see people in African settings, in Nigeria particularly, there's this entire narrow bias to say, oh, if you are in the sciences, you must be very intelligent. If you are in the arts, maybe not so. If you are in social sciences, you are in between both, right? I've seen people, with first degrees in zoology, in microbiology, even up to maybe PhD level. They end up being finance people, they end up being accountants, they end up being tech people. So I think the point Nengi was trying to make, and I think we have to emphasize it and even recognize it very, very clearly, is the fact that, hey, you need to understand exactly what you love in terms of your personal, like your personal passion, in terms of your vocation, that thing that keeps you awake, that thing that keeps you alive, that thing that you actually love. It doesn't have to be something big, something noble, like in medicine, like engineering, like law. If what keeps you alive is you want to study psychology, you want to be a philosopher, you want to do something that is not in the mainstream in terms of courses, by all means, please pursue it. Because if you end up pursuing law, you end up pursuing engineering, you end up pursuing, maybe medicine, because your parents wanted you to pursue that, because, oh, it was the in thing, the special thing that would give you a sort of external validation. You just realize that by the time you're 25, you're 26, you are 30, you come to that realization that it's not you, it's not what you want to pursue. And then you may just end up doing something totally different from what you may have spent 4 or 5 years doing, right? So essentially, if you are convinced in your bones, if you're convinced in your nerves that this is what you want to do, no matter the voices around you, parents, uncles, guardians, friends, by all means pursue what you want to do. So Nengi, thank you for that. Vicky, is there anybody whose hands, or hands are, any folks whose hands are raised so that we can take those? If not, I'm still trying to make the very best out of all of this. So just checking, Obe, Yemi, if you're on the call, can you confirm you can hear me very well?
Hi, Isaac. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Obe. Hi. Okay, so again, Obe, just trying to make the very best out of what we have right now. If there's one big advice, with the benefit of, hindsight, like Steve Jobs would say when he was still here, you can't connect the dots, when you are looking forward. You can only connect them when you're looking backward, right? So, sorry, backwards. So, Obe, with the benefit of hindsight, connecting the dots backwards, if there's one thing right now that you know very well that you wish you had known some 10, 12 years back, maybe perhaps before you join school, that may be beneficial or meaningful to very young people, 17, 18, 19 about to enter school, what would that be so that they can learn from you? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone who has joined this call this evening. We truly appreciate you being here. I saw a question on the group chat. Someone asked if you could study computer science without writing maths in JAM. Well, I graduated from River State University, top 10 in my set, and the answer is no. You need maths. That's primarily because computer science is about 80% mathematics and 100% computer-related courses. So most of the time, when you say you study computer science, you are actually studying mathematics. And also,
I have a question, sorry.
okay.
So just hold on. So that Obi can just finish first. Obi, please go ahead. Obi, please go ahead. Finish first. Obi.
Okay. Also, if I should go back in time, the things I think I know now that would have known then that would have been helpful to me, I'll start with starting things early. No, this whole mindset of procrastination. The last time we have this meeting, or the last time we had this meeting, the speaker dealt on it. Procrastination is both a theft of time and opportunities. So when you start early in the sense of reading early, right? Trying to meet that CGPA early. The moment you slow down and you think the next semester you can do better, believe me, it will break. If I started early, although I started early, I won't say if I started early. If I have my 4K online, like he knows back then, I spend 99% of my time in classes reading, even after lectures are over. Anytime he comes to look for me in the hostel, he doesn't see me. He knows where to find me at law faculty. So yes, I started early, but the another issue I had was I wasn't consistent in starting early. So when I finished my first semester, my CGPA was fine. Sorry, my GPA was fine. When I finished my second semester for my year one, the CGPA reduced a little bit. And because I dropped that consistency, that's how it kept reducing. So I asked myself, what if I've not started the first semester of my year one very well? What if I was a little bit poor? Would it have gone higher? Believe me, it would have gone lower. So one of the advice I always tell people, more especially the young folks, my younger sister sent her result yesterday, and I also said something to her. Make sure you start early. If you want to get first class, start getting the first class right from the first semester. The moment you slow down on that, believe me, it takes time to try to pick up. Another thing I want to say too is I emphasize more on calculation. Anything that has to do with calculation, where things are just so much fancy. While my other folk that I say he likes the writing, the theoretical part. He knows how to write very well. Anything calculation, don't involve him. So when I focus more on calculation, I was so happy with courses like physics, courses like mathematics, courses like statistics. But then in computer science, where I studied in University, we were doing African history. We were doing entrepreneurship, and there was nothing like calculation there. I won't lie, I'll be honest, I suffered. Those are the courses that gave me my D and my E. Because while I was expecting to calculate, I'm expected to write from here, textbooks, like big voluminous textbooks that you need to finish. So we can balance it. Why you may like one specific field, why you may like one specific approach. Could it be you're so much interested in writing? Don't let the calculative part suffer. Or could it be that you're more interested in calculation? Don't let the writing part suffer. Because the moment you don't balance it, anything that takes you outside that comfort zone, you will definitely suffer. I suffered in my year one second semester. I suffered in my year two first semester, but my year two second semester, I had legs to help me. So yeah, I didn't suffer that much. So those are the two things I will want to point at. Learn, start early, and balance your learning approach.
Fantastic. I mean, really awesome, man. Like I always say, breadth over depth, being a generalist over a specialist. And yeah, so like Obi said, spot on, bang on the money. You go to a university when you want to do engineering, you want to do accounting, you're going to have theoretical courses. So if you don't have that bias, that orientation towards reading in terms of things that don't have calculations, you realize that you may struggle because every single course counts with respect to your CGPA. So awesome stuff. Honorable Martins, really sorry we have to be doing this. So we're just trying to fill in the gaps, given the actual fact that we don't have a prof here with us. So one thing I want all of you to know is I often say that life comes out best for those who can make out the best out of the way things turn out. So this entire session could have been a disaster, given the fact that Prof is not here. But thankfully, we have Comrade Martins who has been able to hold his own forte, like hold forts, for Prof, and then now we are bringing in other people as well to share their experience and then things that we can learn. So at times, things we don't have to have paradise, for us to be able to maximize, to leverage and recognize what is in front of us. I'm really sorry we had planned all of this around, Prof and then Comrade as well. But it is what it is. We are where we are. We just cannot just say, oh, we have to stop and then we keep nagging or bickering that Prof is not here. We have professionals here. We have experienced people here. So while you are still on this call, we'll weaponize this time and then ensure that as much as possible you are able to learn. So Lex, I'm coming to you because Obi emphasized the fact that theoretical courses and all of those areas, you were the one that you were helping him. So I will come to you, Lex. Well, I can see Princessa's hand. Princessa, do you have something you want to share, something really powerful you want to share with the group? Princessa, quickly, and then I'll settle back to Lex. And then if we have Yemi here, we can take Yemi as well. Princessa, quickly, thank you.
Sorry, I'm actually driving on my way to the office now.
Okay, that's fine. Fine. Lex, I think yeah, that is a cue for us to bring you in. So you want to help us fill some of the blanks that Obi left us with. So yeah, quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaac. Good evening, everyone. Obi already covered some of the things that I would probably wanted to point out. But one thing I would say to draw from what he said already is that the mistake I personally made was that I was very relaxed from the beginning. There's one scenario with the university where you come from a very good school, or you're top of your class in secondary school, and so you're always coming first and second and first and second. You come to university and you put in that same amount of effort that you've always put in the secondary school, and then it feels like it's not working. I mean, that was the same thing you were doing before, and you're coming first, and now it's bringing you middle of the class. So adjusting to the new level of demand that university requires was something that I had to struggle with. I felt like I was a good student. Actually, I was a good student in secondary school, but in the university that was not even close to being good enough. That's because I was relaxed, and this is in contrast to Ube that was up and running from the beginning. I don't know whether he had gone to university before he came in, but he was actually he already knows what to do. And then for me, I was always relaxed, and I didn't even need to study a lot until it was close to exam times or tests. I knew that, okay, I can use 2 to 3 nights to cover this entire material and I'll be fine. And then I felt like I did well in the exams, but then the results would say otherwise. So this brings me to my second point. It means I ended up having a very bad start. I was struggling at the beginning. Obi was flying very high. So he actually became a source of inspiration to me, because I knew I definitely had to catch up. There was no way I could continue sitting behind. I've not been known to be a bad student, and I have to. So I ended up playing catch up for the rest of the university session. And that's the next point I want to iterate on, which is the fact that you shouldn't give up. The first semester, the second semester, it could be bad. You could get your first F, your first E, and it's going to be very discouraging and demeaning. But if you still hang out with the right people that are actually doing well, you would not be comfortable enough to sit back and accept what you've gotten. You want to push more boundaries. So by the time you end up finishing, you might look back and be okay, year 1 was bad, but from year 2, year 3, I picked up. And then, so even if my result was very bad at the beginning, I think I was even in the bottom 30% of my class, but I still got to top 10, Obi as well. And then it was a very inspiring moment for me when my final result came out, and I was where I wanted to be. So yeah, that's just what I have to say.
Really awesome, fantastic, bang on the money, right in the eye of the bull, fantastic insights, awesome stuff. Obi, Lex, thank you so much. So for very young folks, when you hear about GPA, right, it's grade point average. So the word average means from the very first year, the first semester up to the very last one, every course, every particular stuff that you do, everything counts. Again, if you extrapolate it, like I often say, you are the average of all of the friends and the networks and the people that you hang around with, because over time you become your friends, right? So be mindful of the sort of company that you actually keep. Because if you listen to Lex very well, he kept on saying that, hey, at a certain point, Obi had to be the one to continue to push him. If you listen to Obi very well, Obi said, oh, Lex was the one that was pushing it. So be very mindful of the kind of company that you keep. Honorable SUG President, so let me just take you back to you quickly. Yeah, so we initially had a question for you, so let me just quickly mention it. So looking at it from the lens of the student union government leadership in terms of the support that you provide to students. So I don't want you to domesticate it to Uniport. And I say this because we have a lot of people on this call who are aspiring to go to other schools elsewhere, right? So if you don't mind, just make it a bit generic, make it a bit general, that people can actually connect, they can actually learn. So give us a sense of how a typical student union government leadership. So in this particular case now, you as the leader, as president, you have other executives and leaders, from the secretary general to the financial secretary to all sorts of officials that you have. So as a collective unit, how do you fundamentally support students with respect to issues around victimization from lecturers around, marks, things like sexual harassment and much more. So what is the approach that a typical student union government, uses or optimizes or maximizes to helping students with things like victimization and sexual harassment from lecturers? If you don't mind, Honorable Martin, that's is for you. Thank you.
Can you hear me now? Hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you as clear as a bell. Thank you so much, Honorable.
Okay, I didn't get your question at a point.
Okay. Apologies. Okay, so let me actually nuance it, right? So for anyone entering into the university, entering a polytechnic, entering a college of education, there will always be issues for students around things like sexual harassment from lecturers. You get things like victimization with respect to marks. Oh, your CA is missing, your exam script is missing, or what have you. Because so as much as university authorities, they have policies, core values, all sorts of things, training, disciplinary measures for lecturers, we still have the bad eggs. We always have the bad eggs, right? So from a student union, government leadership lens, so collectively as a team, I don't want you to domesticate it. I don't want you to domicile it to the University of Port Harcourt, because we have other young people on this call who are aspiring to go to other schools, including polytechnics and colleges of education as well. Just give us a sense from the lens of the leadership of a typical SUG government. How do you support students with such matters around victimization, harassment, and what have you from lecturers?
Okay. Generally, the idea about the student union is to actually protect the interests of Nigerian students and prioritize her welfare. That's the idea about unionism. In fact, unionism before our days were used as revolutionary bodies. You see, union government presidents or union members come together, group of students who were sound upstairs. They come together and they chart a course. They change policies that are not beneficial to students, and you see them come up with even policies that are profitable to students and to even the university community. But because we want to remain within the ambit of the topic of discourse, which is sexual harassment now, luckily for us, I just rounded off with a 2-day seminar here in Abuja, and we were discussing sexual harassment. We just rounded off. And that particular meeting had in attendance 12 SUG presidents, their vice, and members of the Union of Campus Journalists. We just rounded off with that seminar. In fact, I was leaving the seminar to my hotel room so I can actually attend this particular meeting. And what are some of the resolutions that we've taken? We've decided that as a body, we are going to take the issue of sexual harassment very importantly. And in that training, I've suggested that student union leaders must be involved in the ethics committee. And I told you I won't lie to you people. We had a case that was about 2 months ago, a video that went viral on social media about a lecturer harassing a student in my own institution. The school formed an ethics committee. They looked into the matter, and at the end of the day, they told us that the lecturer wasn't guilty. Now, the person or the alleged person who committed the act is actually a lecturer, and the people that sat at disciplinary committees are also lecturers. And a man cannot adjudicate his own case. You cannot be the judge of your own case. So we are looking at them picking for institutions like Uniport, who does not have that setting. I think they should pick members from the students' union government into such disciplinary committees so that we can speak up for our students should or in case such matters come up. That was the proposal I made. Again, we are determined among ourselves to mobilize and organize students who will become campus journalists for issues that concerns sexual harassment. All you need to do is be confident in us. Tell us, report this matter to us. And when you report this matter to us, There are a whole lot of organizations that are ready to take it up. We have Alliance for Africa. We have so many organizations, Girl Child Advocacy, and what have you. These are organizations that are ready to pick it up. All you just need to do is report it to the union government, to the students' union government, and we'll pick it up. We are ready to work with them. Okay, that is that on that. And while we are looking at curative measures, way to cure it, we're also looking at preventive measures. And one of the ways that were prevented, that was presented, when you give people a sense of belonging in leadership, they have a way of contributing and putting extra efforts in order to make sure that things work out. So on that ground, we're suggesting that during our student union weeks, while we give Mrs. Uniport for pageantry, we give Mr. Uniport for pageantry, that we should also give Mr. Zero Tolerance, Mr. Zero Tolerance in sexual immorality and in sexual harassment, and Mr. Zero Tolerance in sexual harassment. The sense of that is by appointing these people or making them ambassadors in this particular area, they will have this sense of belonging. They will show this commitment, and they will be the ones leading the campaign, because it's a way. We're looking at sustainability. If you do this annually, that every year someone will emerge occupying that particular office, you will see the person pushing to make sure that this fight against sexual harassment, come to fruition. So students should feel free to report to us. We are committed to working with them. We've already made proposals of leading campaigns. We have to inform people again. Sexual harassment comes in different forms. Okay, there are verbal way of harassing someone. You can actually harass someone verbally. You can harass someone in different forms. There are direct and indirect forms of harassment. So these and so many things we discussed here that we'll be dealing with. So we just want such cases to us. Yes.
Okay, awesome, fantastic stuff, And Jane, thanks for applauding. Thanks very much. Thanks for those very powerful, distilled insights. Victoria, sorry, I about to hijack this. Yeah, primarily because we actually don't have the prof, so we just need to make the very best out of what we have. So apologies. Okay, so Victoria, I'll circle back to you. I think I see 1 or 2 hands up, so we can take those. Hopefully, we can round off in the next 5, hopefully 10 minutes max. So I have Blessing with something on the chat. So Blessing, yeah, it's fine. So thanks for still joining, even though you had the network challenges. I'm actually writing a book. I'm actually writing a book around making the first class while in the university, or if you're in the technical college of education, making a distinction as well. Like I spent a lifetime just talking about it. But let me just say one thing to you quickly. In a typical university, so let me use university as a good example. You have a distinction between the continuous assessment and then exams. In most schools, your continuous assessment, aka your CA, will typically be between 30 and 40 marks. So what I often say is be present. So in your continuous assessment, you're going to have things like attendance, you have things like assignments, you have things like group work, and you have things like tests. The first prerequisite is very key, is you need to be present. So whether it is going to be attendance, whether it will be assignment, whether it will be group work, whether it will be a test, and some lecturers are very fond of that. They've been doing it for like decades. They do impromptu, shock tests, right, without any prior notice. Or if it's a case of, you're going to buy handouts or textbooks, and those handouts or textbooks will be giving marks for, ensure you don't miss out on all of those. If you're going to a typical university, A typically starts from maybe 70, unless maybe a Uniband or a UI, they have their own, which is actually a bit, it's symmetrical. But in most schools, so I went to the University of Lagos. I think University of Port Harcourt is actually still 70 as well. So just imagine that your continuous assessment is 30. You're able to tick all of the boxes in terms of attendance. When it comes to things like handouts or materials, maybe marks are awarded for those. You ensure if others are buying, you buy. If they are going to be tests, you take all of those things. If there will be assignments, you take all of those things. If there will be group work, you take all of those things. Once you're able to get something like a 20 or a 25 or by 30, trust me, you are in a very, very prime position to making the 70, right? And then you take notes, you buy the requisite textbooks, you read for exams like OBE, And like I said, you have the right, people around you. You are actually reading very assiduously. You're very focused. And mind you, you could be a straight A student from high school because you had teachers who were interested in you in terms of direct mentorship, direct coaching. And like the Honorable SUG President said, once you get to the university, you transition into lecturing. Most times lecturers don't know you. So you need to be the one to find your own drive. You need to be the one to find your own independence. You have to be the one to find your discipline to get things done. So it is beyond being a good student up to maybe when you must have written WIAC, or when you must have written NECO, or when you must have written JAM. You need to be disciplined. You need to be seeing yourself as someone potentially who can make a first class. And then you know that, hey, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon game. Everything you do from the very first day counts. So if you're able to make a 20 or a 25 over 30 in your continuous assessment, you know that, okay, fine, let's say you have made a 20 for continuous assessment. If you're going for exams, if each exam will be roughly about 70, you know that, hey, if you can make a 50 over 70, you have a good A. So I made straight A's from my third year up to my fourth year, fourth semester, 3 consecutive semesters. I made A's all through. If anybody tells you it cannot be done, trust me, it can be done. And that's where you need mentors. So if you are entering school for the very first time, you're in your first year, ensure you have mentors in second year who have gone through what you're about to go through, who will tell you about the pitfalls and the things for you to watch out for. So my advocacy to you is being a straight A student is not enough. You need internal disciplines. You have to be with the right people. You need to know what you need to have from your continuous assessment to the exams itself for you to maintain A's all through. I didn't have a single C all through my time in school. Any of you here, if you pursue the same rigor, you can also end up with a combination of A's and B's, and then you just realize that making a first class is actually a piece of cake. It takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of rigor, it takes, doing the boring things every day and enjoying the boring things with the end in mind. It makes it much more fun. Vicky, quickly, I'll let you take 1 or 2 questions, and then, I think we'll end it here. I'll come back to do the thank you and close, and then we'll carry on off. So, Vicky, over to you. Or perhaps we can let Ayo. We have not heard from Ayo for like a while, so maybe Ayo, yes, Ayo, just please quickly come in. Let's take one or two questions, and then I'll come to do the summary, and then we'll carry on off. Ayo, please take it away. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Thank you, everyone, for such a wonderful lesson today. So, do we have any questions from the audience? I cannot see any hand. Do we have any questions? Please, if you have any question, use the raise hand button. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I think I see John. John. Yeah. John. I can see John. We call it Joan.
Okay, Joan. Yeah.
Of the ladies I know, they say, please do not call me Joan. My name is Joan. So please, over to you.
All right, Joan. You can unmute yourself and speak.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, so I just have one question. And okay, I'm an aspirant. I did JAM this year, and so somebody said, I was listening to the other man when he was saying he relaxed when he entered 100 level, and he had to catch up for the remaining years. Like he had to catch up for the second year and until the end. So I want to ask, somebody said some schools, like their 100 level, they like the percentage that they used to score for 100 level is like 50%. So if you get let's say you get an A overall in 100 level, that it will be easy for you to sustain even though you don't do well in second year and third year. You get. So I want to ask if that is how it is for all schools, or each school has their own percentage that they use per year. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I do. Okay, so let me take that. All right. So aside from very few schools, very few schools, and I'll say 0.0001. I think I have heard of 1 or 2 of such schools. Aside from all of those schools, for many other schools elsewhere, no, that's not how it works, right? And that's why you need to be on our Academic board, because we have a GPA calculator that simulates and helps you, understand how these things work, right? So we have what we call course units. Every course has units. Units could be 1, they could be 2, they could be 3, and basically you have different grades. So like I said, for most universities, not all, for most universities, A will start from 70. So if you score 70 and above, it's A. From 60 to maybe a 69 is B. and then you have a 51 to a 59C like that all through. So for most schools, it does not matter whether it's first year, whether it's second year. What they simply do is, for every course you take, for every grade you make, whether it's A, whether it's B, whether it's C, they multiply it by the course units. The courses you take every semester will have units. So what they simply do is they will multiply. So for most universities, they use a 5-point grade system. There are very few schools that use 6 point something, and then there are very few ones that use 4 point something. In the Polytechnic, because before I switched over to Unilag, I was in Yabatech, right? For Polytechnics, mainly, whether you're doing OND or you're doing HND, they use a 4.0 scale. But in most universities, it's 5.0. So an A is a 5, a B is a 4, a C is a 3, D is 2, E is 1, and then F is 0. So for every course you take, they multiply the equivalent. So if it is A, it's 5 multiplied by the units. They do that all through, then they will add up all of the units. So it is the total, the summation, the cumulative of every grade you get. So let's say you have A. So for every A, let's say you have like course units 2, they multiply everything. And then if the others are maybe 4, B all through, they multiply everything by 2. Then you will sum up all of the units. It is those units that will form the denominator. The multiplication of the grade by the units will give you the numerator. That's where you get the grade point average. So every semester matters. They do the same thing from semester 1. First semester, first year, if you're doing a non-engineering course or a non-law course, a non-medicine course, it's for 4 years. They will do it for 8 semesters. If you're doing engineering, a 5-year course, they do it for 10 semesters. So no, in terms of the weight, it's not the year that carries the weight. It's the number of courses that you do. So again, if you've not joined Acadabo, please do, because we're going to have mentors, we're going to have coaches, in addition to the CGPA calculator, who can help you specifically with respect to the institution. So again, we are agnostic. Agnostic means we're not biased towards university. If your aspiration is to go to a polytechnic, by all means, we'll find you mentors who have done OND and HND, who can walk you through. If you are biased towards becoming a lecturer, and then maybe your actual aspiration is to pursue, a degree in a college of education, we're also going to have such mentors as well. So by all means, I'll say to you, we can't solve everything on this call. Join the Acadabo community. You're going to have mentors and coaches in there waiting to guide you all through. But generally speaking, no, every semester matters. Every semester counts. It depends on the units of the various courses you must have taken in that respective semester from the very beginning to the very end. So for the sake of time, I think we should leave it here. Honorable Martins, any final words from you before I do the normal, thank you, and then we can round off? I mean, I'm really very grateful to you for making our time despite your workshop in Abuja, the pressure, the stress you must have gone through and all of that. You still made out time to, be with us all through. So let us take the final words from you. I do the vote of thanks as usual, and then we can round up. So, Honorable, over to you.
Okay, I want to say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Isaac, and your team, and to Nexus generally. Thank you for creating this platform where we can actually discuss issues like this. I look forward to on subsequent meetings, even though I won't be the spokesperson, where I can come online and also learn. So we share ideas together. I can play a contributive role. I might not necessarily be the spokesman for that particular day. And for some of our students who are actually inquisitive to get knowledge about certain things, most things that has to do with policies, ethics, and practices, where we deal with them at that first year when you are being admitted into the university as a fresh intake. We'll give you handbooks that has policies. So as you go through them and go through orientation courses or orientation processes, you'll be acquainted with some of this program. But then we'll keep meeting here and rubbing minds together. Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac, for giving us this platform to rub minds together and share thoughts. Thank you.
Honorable, my president, I'm really, really honored, really excited, really delighted, privileged to actually have you. Trust me, we're going to have you back as a guest speaker as we go to other schools as well, because some of the breadth, some of the depth that you have will be beneficial to a lot of students elsewhere as well. And please, Honorable President, if you've not registered already, please kindly register as a mentor on our Acadabo platform. I plan to speak with you offline. I plan to come to the University of Lagos to join you in terms of advocacy and all of that. So if there's any way you can support us as well in terms of deepening the adoption of our Acadabo platform, by all means, we look forward to receiving whatever help and support that we can get from your end. Again, on behalf of the team, thank you so much. Okay, so for participants generally, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining. Apologies once more that we actually couldn't get Prof to join us. Hopefully, in the future, when we go to other schools, yeah, hopefully we can cover all of those gaps so we can get to have, authorities from universities. So you can get to hear some of the formal, approaches with respect to things like post UTME, the registration process, the admission process, some of the benefits, and much more. So again, apologies, but thankfully, I'm very delighted and happy that we have had people like Honorable Martins with us who have been able to cover, many of the, vacuum that we have had. And thanks for folks who spoke, from Nengi to Lex to Obe, Victoria Ayo, everyone. Thank you so very much. On this note, let me just say, I look forward to the very next one that we're actually going to be having. On behalf of the entire team, thank you very much. If you've not registered on Academy yet, please do. Ayo, if you don't mind, could you just go to the last slide, the thank you slide, where we have the URL for Acadabo. So, Honorable, if you've not registered on Acadabo, please, the URL is www.acadabo.com. So again, like I had said earlier on, and I'd like to reiterate it, so it's a LinkedIn for students. It's a safe place for students to come in, to collaborate, to learn, to co-create value and impact in different dimensions and all of that. We have things from the GPA calculator to a free CBT platform, to mentors, to donors, to free courses, to free scholarships, to a whole lot more, including a marketplace. Please, if you've not registered on Acadabo, this is the very best time for you to do it. We are on the web, we are on Android, we are on iOS as well, and this is courtesy of the Antigravity group. And part of our vision is to be a force for good. I want to touch lives as much as we possibly can, and engender the maximum possible positive impact on the African continent. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you soon, and yeah, have fun. Thank you and cheers.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, cheers.